Welcome back, everyone, to round 6 of the NUS Invitationals. With the white pieces, we have Jonathan Goh from NUS Team A, undefeated, 5 out of 5. With the black pieces, we have Eunice Heng from NP Team A, also undefeated, 5 out of 5. One of them is gonna no longer be undefeated, or maybe they go for a draw, who knows. Let's start the game. So at the start of the game, Eunice was actually not at the board for the first 1 minute. She was actually presumably away, presumably being in the toilet, but she did come back in time to play the PX defense. And Jonathan goes for this very, very common idea of putting the queen and the bishop as a battery to attack the g7 bishop that has been VN kettled. Eunice goes for this a6 b5 line that basically says that, okay, I'm going to attack you on the queen side if you dare to castle there. So Jonathan goes for this trade, and Eunice goes for b4 to attack the knight. The knight has to retreat, and Eunice develops her knight to e7, and white castles there saying that I'm not afraid of whatever nonsense you're going to throw at me. Eunice strikes at center of e5, takes. The king goes to b1, a prophylactic move, and bishop's developed. The knight goes to f4. Now, the queen actually goes to e7 here, which actually allows the knight to go to d5 with tempo, essentially forcing a trade. And now, after a5, rook e1 is being played to pin the knight to the queen and the king. So the only move right here is for the king to sidestep himself, and the queen goes into g7 to attack the rook. The queen defends it, but that allows the queen to give a check. The king goes to c8, and Eunice is basically trying to castle the king by hand. And f4 is being played, knight goes to g4, queen retreats. f5 is being played to solidify the position of the knight. After knight f3, queen f6, asking for a queen trade. Now, in this position, Jonathan plays queen c4, which is a bit of a mistake because it allows the knight to come into f2 and then to e4. This knight has went from f6 to g4 to f2 now to e4. It's a very long way to get to the same spot. So what white should have done is actually to play queen d2, and that prevents the knight from coming to f2 because now it's covered by the queen. And so what happened in the game is that after the bishop attacks the knight actually reverts it up to c5. So the knight basically went a long way, all right, to get to where it was right now. It started from b8, I believe, to d7 to f6 to g4 to f2 to e4 to c5. It's a lot of moves, and this is just move 25, move 34. And the knight actually goes, spoiler alert, the knight actually moves a lot more after this. And so the knight goes to d4, rook b8, g3, rook b6. Eunice is trying to start an attack on white's king, but offers a rook trade. Jonathan goes for the rook trade, attacks the bishop, and the bishop moves again. Now, in this position, Jonathan really needed to play knight e6 and says that, okay, if you trade, I have a pass pawn. And this knight essentially can't move because the moment you move the knight, unless it's to a6, you get checkmated. And this idea has been around for a long time actually, because for the longest of time, the engine has been screaming at Jonathan to play knight e6. The engine also still suggests knight e6 here, but Jonathan Jonathan plays solidly, and in this position, both players have. I think Eunice has about less than 3 minutes. Jonathan has a bit more than 4 minutes, and Jonathan is trying to play such that he's always up 2 minutes on time on Eunice against Eunice. And bishop attacks the knight, then has to go back to c5, which you know that means the opponent has made a slight mistake. And the knight goes in. Now this is a mistake because again, the knight really needed to go to e6. This is like the 10th time the engine is telling you the knight belongs there. But the knight goes here, and then the king goes back to a7 to try to avoid a check on g8. And so what happened was that white plays it anyways because it infiltrates the back line. It attacks this pawn, and essentially the queen also wants to go to c8 because it threatens checkmate and it's very near the king. And Eunice plays knight a4 with about less than 2 minutes left. She plays knight e4, threatening checkmate. Jonathan thought for a while, plays rook b1. He has to defend against checkmate. And in this position, Eunice needed to find rook b8 and to kick the queen away. The queen can't even take this. Why? Because, oh my god, king b6. And apparently black is winning here. I don't know why. Don't ask me. I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough to understand why that was winning. But but neither did Eunice apparently, because she played rook knight c3. Now this is tricky because you can't actually take this. If you take this, this is a perpetual check, and yeah, that will be a draw. And Jonathan does not want a draw. He's up 2 minutes on time. Eunice had less than 2 minutes left, and he plays. He needed to find queen h7, staring at danger because this is not scary. Yeah, this is not scary. And the queen is threatening to take on c8, c7, with check. And so, but he plays queen c8, and this is a draw if and only if Eunice finds knight b5, gluing shut everything. White has no form of attack here at this point, but with only about around a minute more to spare, uh, Eunice panics and plays queen g7, and this loses to the move that Jonathan found in the game, queen d7. And when this happened, Jonathan, you can see that he breathed a sigh of relief. He realizes that this is winning, because after you, if you do trade, it's impossible to stop this pawn. You have to go rook b8 and stop this pawn, and I'm now just taking your pawn. And if you take back, I'm taking your rook with queen. Yeah, so that's not good. And which is why Eunice didn't go for the queen trade. But this is just losing to after queen c7 and bishop. This is just a brutal attack on the king. And after a few more moves, Eunice resigned in this position. And so Jonathan will play all 7 games on board 1, which is good. And yeah, he's the only person who is undefeated so far, not even a draw. And based the standing wise, we can take a look at the individual standings. So Jonathan won his game, and now he's 6 out of 7. And his second place is right now is Aravind, and that which will be his next opponent. And this is very important because in the next in the team standings, you can see we actually had a very good round. We won 3.5 out of 4. Well, SUTD only went 2 out of 4. So that right now we're up 1 point. But our next round, Jonathan is playing RB, who is from SUTD Team A. So if Jonathan wins that round, we are almost guaranteed first place. So that is the round to watch, and that will be covered in the next episode. On the third and fourth place teams, we have SP Team A, MP Team A, NUS Team C, and NUS Team B. So all 3 NUS teams are in contention to get a prize, which is quite cool if you ask me. NUS Team C had a huge comeback in the later rounds of the tournament, and we'll see what happens in the last round. Stay tuned. Goodbye.